You're listening to episode 195, Kenzie's Story, a daughter with caudal regression syndrome and severe tethered cord. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Child Life on Call. This podcast is a safe place for parents to share their stories about what it's like to have a child that has a medical experience, diagnosis, disease, and or everything in between. We know there's power in sharing stories, and that power multiplies when you can listen to other parents who have walked a similar path to yours. Giving and getting advice is great, but hearing how another parent navigates the complexities and nuances of healthcare is even better. As a child life specialist, my role is to support, validate, and provide emotionally safe spaces for kids and their families, and I am so honored to be on this journey with you. In addition to parent stories, we sprinkle in some expert episodes every now and again that have content for both parents and professionals in the field of healthcare, all with the mission to empower parents to be confident advocates and partners with the care team during healthcare experiences. We're so glad you're here. Hi, friends. My name is Katie Taylor. I am a certified child life specialist and the host and founder of Child Life on Call. You're joining us today, and you're in such a treat because I'm going to introduce you to your new best friend, and that's what it felt like when I got to talk with her. Her name is Mackenzie. She is from Florida, and the way that she has embraced medical motherhood with her arms wide open is nothing short of inspirational. And she talks a little bit about this, but like in the first week or so that they received her daughter's diagnosis, like literally they went from, hi, here's a healthy newborn baby. You're on your way out the door, going to go introduce sister to her brothers. And no, you're not. You're actually going to go to the NICU. Just like how fast those things can change in your whole life before you change. But she talks about, that first week and how much did she want to share, and ultimately the decision that she came to be kind of the influencer medical mom that she is right now. Talking with her is nothing short of a gift. And I took away so much from our conversation, a lot of like aha moments that really put things together with me. So you're going to see actually this podcast, we're just starting off chatting because we actually really had a good kind of conversation about talking with doctors one-on-one before we even got into our episode. So I'm going to start it there. And Mackenzie, thank you so much for joining us today. And I just love talking with you. And I can't wait to see the amazing things that you and your family do. I feel so much more connected to families than I did when I was working in the hospital because number one, like you're juggling so many families, right? I don't ever just have one patient. I usually have almost a caseload of 10 to 20. But like I get to sit here with you and like spend time just learning all about you. And I'm really grateful to be able to do this.
It's definitely more one-on-one. So
Yeah. Yeah. And there's not those barriers of like, I'm a clinician and you're a parent, or I feel that, when I go into the doctor's office for myself, like those barriers are just gone when you podcast with someone. It's really,
okay.
really cool.
When you're in the hospital or the doctor's office, it's like, okay, you get your 5 questions out. If you even get that time and then get them back and it's like, okay, bye. I'm like, all right, that's
And
it.
I don't know about you, but it's like you have your 5 questions in mind. And if they're talking about something else, you're not even listening because you've got your own questions in mind.
I'm like, I always try to have somebody with me because I'm like, I leave the doctors and I'm like, I have no idea what just happened. I like
Yeah.
black out. I'm like, okay, great. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's like a proven thing. Like you don't retain like almost up to 80% of what the doctor tells you. So my hack for that is like when you go in, you tell the doctor like, I want to hear what you have to say, but I won't concentrate until you answer these 5 questions. So can I please ask them? And then we can talk. Because otherwise it really is hard to have a really deep or in-depth discussion with your provider because you're thinking about what you came to the visit for.
So you're like, I forgot these questions last time. I need to say them again. And then we can get to what you want to talk about.
Exactly, exactly. Well, why don't you let our listeners know who you are, a little bit about your family, and just about you as a mom?
Okay, so my name's Mackenzie. I'm born and raised in Florida, right by the beach, a little beach town. And I went to high school here and met my husband in high school, and we fell in love. And 5 years later, we had our first child. And we were young parents, but that didn't change anything. We were fully like involved with our child, and I became a stay-at-home mom at that time. And that just became my world, was being a mom. And I felt so, so grateful to have that time with my child. And fast forward, we had another baby 2 years later, and then we got married. And then a year later, we found out we were pregnant with our last baby, which is Madeline Liv.
Yay.
We were over the moon because we had two boys, and we were just like so curious if we were going to have, I was just so like destined to be a boy mom. I'm like, there's no way we're going to have a little girl. But we were so over the moon when we found out we were going to have a baby girl. And I had a normal pregnancy, normal delivery. Everything was perfect. I mean, I'm really an amazing pregnant woman. Like I love to experience like delivering, and everything was perfect until I delivered her, and my husband came to me and said, "Wow, she has these weird birthmarks all over her butt." And I'm like, that's strange. And even the nurses came, and she's like, "You wouldn't believe how many birthmarks are around her back and butt area." And at that time, nothing even crossed my mind. Like, I just thought, wow, okay, so she has some extra birthmarks, not a big deal. And it wasn't until we were about to leave the hospital, we were getting ready to pack up. And so Liv could meet her brothers, and the pediatrician came and said, "I just want to do a couple tests just to kind of rule out things, because usually if there's something showing from the outside, there's kind of maybe a sign something's wrong in the inside." And so still, I really didn't think anything of it. I honestly was like, she's fine. She's perfect. I've never had any issues, two healthy children. And it's just crazy to think, that was my thought process. Just like, I thought everything was just perfect. She's perfect. We're going home. We're going to, she's going to meet her brothers. Everything's fine. And so my husband went to get the ultrasound with her, and he came back, and we still didn't really have many answers until the pediatrician came and was like, "I want to talk to you about some things that we're really looking what we think it could be." And that's when she said, "I think your daughter might have a tethered spinal cord." And anytime I think any like neural tube defect, any kind of spinal cord issue, I just automatically thought of spina bifida. You know,
Mm.
that is like my first, like, I try to connect the two. And she's like, it's kind of like spina bifida, but it's not. That's not what that's not what she has. I really think that she needs to get further testing. And so I was just so like confused. I just didn't think that this is possible. Everything was perfect. We did all the testing, we did the ultrasounds. I'm like, how was it 5 minutes ago we were just going to go home, and now we have to stay. And so I
Yeah.
was just so like taken back from it. And I try to really like for it to hit me, and I couldn't like get into reality for me. And they brought us to the NICU, and I will never forget that moment. Oh my God, I'm going to start crying. It was just like such a pivotal moment of like realizing how grateful we have been to have these normal, beautiful children. And now I get like this glimpse of like what so many families have to go through. And so we get to the NICU, and they're like, "We have to take you to a bigger hospital." And I'm like, what is happening? Like,
Yeah.
it just felt like a bad dream that I just couldn't wake up from. And um obviously we're from a little small beach town. They don't do big things, and they just kept telling us they don't know what's wrong. They're like, "I don't know." And like, how can like, I'm like, me and my husband like thought the worst. Like,
Yeah.
we were just so grateful for that time we had with her. We didn't know what was gonna happen, we were just so grateful we had the 24 hours with her. Um, and so they came to us and they said that she had to go to Orlando, which is about an hour away, and we could not go in the ambulance with her. Um, and that's like the first, like, we're supposed to be going home together.
Right.
Our ride's supposed to be with us.
Yeah. Oh,
And it was
you know
just,
what? That's such a specific moment that is another thing that's like taken away
yeah,
of all of these. We're supposed to go meet brothers. We were
right.
supposed to be on our way home. I was supposed to sit next to her in the back seat on the way to our car, and now she's in an ambulance and I can't even be next to her.
It's just such like a crazy moment. Like, you don't think could happen. You know, you really don't put yourself into that position until it's like this mode. It's like, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And so, um, we are so grateful that we know a lot of people in our town. And we knew some people that worked in Orlando that got to talk to us and kind of tell us, like, we knew who was actually driving the ambulance.
Wow.
So it was such a great moment to like feel like, okay, like at least like if we can't be in there, well, we're gonna be right behind that ambulance the entire way, but at least
Yeah.
know a familiar face, you know. So
Whoa. That's such another really important part is that like human connection with the people taking care of your baby, your child is it's essential to you getting some peace of mind. Like, okay, if I can't be there, like I know with myself when I'm working with families, the mom will look at me and be like, if you're there, I'll be okay if I can't be. And what a what a special spot for me to be able to be in, and not only the mom trusts me, but the child trusts me too, and something I don't take lightly, but it's like you have to have those human connections and be like, "You got my girl," and that's so important.
absolutely, it's such a human connection, and you know, having that and feeling that, it's so important. And so luckily I come from a family where, you know, I have a stepmom that's a doctor. My dad's a pharmacist. My sister's a PA. Her husband's a PA. My mom's there. So like I come from this like community where I'm so grateful for the medical field and I appreciate everything they do. But then at that moment, I'm like, it felt like, I mean, me and my husband didn't have a choice. We have to do this. Like we can't, you know, we have to trust and let this happen. We need to figure out what's going on. So
Mm.
it was such a drastic moment that when that happened. But I remember my husband staying up in NICU for me to go home. And you know, while all this is going on, I'm still trying to take care of myself. Like I just had a baby 24 hours ago, but I remember just going home real fast, getting things. I didn't know how long we'd be in Orlando for, and going to say goodbye to my boys and them just being so confused as to what was going on. I'm just like, you're gonna stay with Gigi and Papa for a little bit. Like, we have to, you know, stay just a little bit longer. You'll meet her soon. But I just remember I didn't want to see them see me upset. So just trying to stay strong for them and giving them kisses and driving back to the NICU. And it was around like 3 in the morning at this time.
Mm, of course.
Right.
It's always like the middle of the night, you're so exhausted.
All I want to do is sleep. There's nowhere to sleep in the NICU. So, you know, you just have to go with it. And finally the ambulance comes and they take Liv. And I remember me and my husband running, like sprinting to the car and just like making sure, like, okay, that's the ambulance, like get right behind it. And
Right.
luckily I got to sleep for an hour. And when we got there, they brought her back to do the emergency MRI. And I remember a neurosurgeon coming in and then confirming that Liv has a severe tethered spinal cord. And still at that time, I don't know why it just didn't hit me. Like I just couldn't believe what was happening. I think like luckily the worst things that has ever happened to my children was a broken arm. And I'm like, you know what? You do these steps. You go see the doctor, you get a cast, you go back, you get the cast removed, it's a fixed thing, and then, you go on about your day and they're happy children and that's
Mm,
it, right? And with this, it's like, no, it's not like you go into the doctor and you go back and it's fixed. Like this is something she's going to be living with. And
right.
um I had my sister like talk to me about it and stuff, and she really opened my eyes. I really tried not to Google so much, but I didn't know how I was going to cope with it. That was the
Yeah.
diagnosis for her. We stayed there for 2 days when we came home, and there was these list of specialists that we had to get her to. And I was so just like so confused. I didn't know where to go, what to do, what the first step was. I didn't know if I was going to be open about it. I didn't know if I was going to tell people. I kind of just wanted to like tuck it away,
Yeah.
and like it never happened. And I think it was like a week after we got that news. I was like, this is just not the way to do it. Like I need, this doesn't mean like this is it for her. This is just something that happened with her and we're gonna figure it out. So it's pretty much what we did. We went to her first pediatrician's appointment in Ormond Beach, where they told us that her complications are too much for them, and they pretty much denied us and told us that we needed to find somebody that could handle her. And so we went to Orlando again and found all of her specialists and her pediatrician and a patient care coordinator, which has been incredible to get
Yeah.
us together and to get everything situated. The birthmarks were actually not birthmarks, they're hemangiomas, and they range all from her back to her lower butt to her lady parts.
Hmm.
And so that was a huge sign of the spinal cord injury.
Wow. What did it feel like? I often say one of the best things about being a parent and something not a lot of people know is that you actually can choose your care team. And that if you're not vibing with a pediatrician, you can find another one you do vibe with. You're not locked in a contract. You can leave at any time and go get another opinion. And that's incredibly empowering. But it's not that empowering when they tell you you're too much. Your child is too sick. I've heard that people have been told your child's the sickest one in the NICU, your child's the sickest one in the hospital right now. And it doesn't feel good when that choice is made for you. But ultimately you probably ended up in the best place you could have, but it's not an easy path that you got there.
I know it was so like I was sort of taken back by it, but then I
Yeah.
knew that she did need somebody bigger that could understand her case. And like my family being in the medical field, I know how important it is to not only advocate for yourself but for your children. And so I knew that okay, we'll find a new pediatrician, and if we don't love her, then we'll go to a new one. We'll make sure we find the perfect fit for her, along with all of her specialists as well too.
How did you start finding your voice in advocating for herself and for your family needs? Was it right up at the beginning you kind of I've heard from a lot of parents it's a spectrum, right? Some are like I woke up out of anesthesia after my section like yelling for what I needed, and then some are like it took years of practice. Where do you fall in that spectrum?
I think what was for me was I was young mom, and none of my friends had kids at the time, and I was learning all these new things. Breastfeeding was a huge thing for me. I wanted to give up right away. I was miserable. I hated it. And
Same.
my husband sat down and was like, you need to try to work. I know you're exhausted and tired, but you just need to try to work at it. And so I did. I went and looked for support groups, and I like I never was like this. I would never like put myself into that position. I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm going to wash my hands, be done with it. And I really started using my voice with breastfeeding and showing the importance of it, being in these support groups. And I feel like that was like the start for me. I
Um,
I became this like breastfeeding mom in Ormond Beach. Like, I had so many new moms reach out to me. I went and helped people in the hospital. It was like this huge thing of like, if you
Wow.
have breastfeeding issues, go to Kenzie. And so I think that was like the start of it. I always had that. I was always like so obsessed with just trying to help new moms with breastfeeding, even old moms that have wanted to but couldn't in the past. And so I think that was just really the beginning. And I always held on to that. And, you know, that was my biggest issue with my first child. And then I had my second and was still that, you know. And then with Liv, I was still big on the breastfeeding thing. And like, I didn't want my whole thing to change to this medical mom. In the beginning, I was just so not ready to open up about it until a couple weeks after I had her. And I was like, you know what? There's going to be, and I know there has before me, so many moms in this position where they don't know where to go, they don't know who to go to or who to talk to. And they just feel stuck in this position where they want to keep it and bury it. And, I want to be that advocate that, you know, that they could come to or relate to. And that's where I kind of started the advocating for any kind of invisible disabilities or disabilities altogether.
When it comes to you, finding your voice and advocating, and it sounds like you almost created like a little community for yourself too, right? You were saying desperate to find another mom who had gone through something else. What have those relationships been like with those parents that you found?
So, with the medical mom side, it's an incredible community. Like, I thought I had motherhood pretty figured out with my kids, and I never knew this whole different side of motherhood. And it's so beautiful to see all these medical moms come together. I started when I found out about Liv's diagnosis. She has the tethered spinal cord, and she also has caudal regression syndrome, where she's missing from her S2 down. And so those were the two that I was really like determined to figure out and find out. And I couldn't really find much of it. And then I found some moms who showed me these support groups on Facebook. And I got into those and I just posted about Liv. And so many moms reached out to me. I'll never forget this mom. I think Liv was maybe a week old, and I posted her about in the tethered spinal cord group, and she automatically messaged me on Facebook and like FaceTimed me. And I'm,
Wow.
oh my gosh, like, do I answer it? Like, I don't know what to do. And I just did. And she was incredible. Like, if I didn't have that support at that moment, it was just such a beautiful moment of just like accepting that phone call. I had no idea who she was, but just having that moment with her. We spoke for about 30 minutes. She told me about her daughter. She said that her daughter's disability was so much like Liv's, and she just had to reach out and tell me that it's going, right now it feels like a lot, and it's okay to feel that, but you know, don't let that take away from the stage of, the newborn stage and the first year of her life. And she told me, just to like slow it down. It feels like a lot at the time, but just embrace every single moment. And that was such a like pivotal moment for me as well.
There's only, and you can really only hear that from another mom who's been through it. Like,
Absolutely.
there's no other doctor or professional that can say, "Slow down," because 'cause you'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But to have a mom be like, and she's right, right? Like, you don't wanna miss these moments because you're drowning in fear and grief, which are all allowed. But
Right.
she's also Liv is there,
Yeah.
and you're getting to learn about her. What are some of your favorite parts of Liv that you get to see in her personality?
Oh my gosh. She is the sassiest ever. She is so sassy. And she knows it too. She is like, if you think of a princess, that's exactly what Liv is. She is like, and she owns it too. She knows with her brother, she can get whatever she wants, and with her dad. And it's just like so funny to see how she works it. I'm like, girlfriend. And even in physical therapy, when we go in there, the physical therapist is like, okay, here comes the Miss Sassy Queen. Goes in there and she tells them like what she wants to do, what exercises. And then she's like, okay, I'm done. And I'm like, okay, it's only been 10 minutes. And she knows it, like, and she's so confident in everything she does. And anytime like we've heard so many things that she might not be able to do, and she has done them. And it's been such like a beautiful experience to see.
Mm. What have you learned about yourself since becoming Liv's mom that maybe you didn't know before?
So much. She has changed me so much. Oh my god.
I know.
I didn't know how much I needed her until I did. Um, I just thought like I had it all, everything was just how it went. You have your kids, they go to school, you expect this. And when we had Liv, that's what we were expecting. I was expecting to go back to work. I was expecting her to go to normal school. And those things can still be in the future. Nothing has to stay on pause forever. But she's really shown me to slow down with my life because I am the Aquarius in me is just I'm like always in the future. And she has really shown me just to take every day by day. Like every day is so special, and she has shown me that just every moment counts, and it's so beautiful to see that, and it's changed me as a mother to take every moment like that. Every moment is so special.
Hmm. Um, I feel like I get to see Liv and you on your Instagram stories, and like you can just like see her sassiness that you talk about, but also like how much you love her. And I love what you said. Like you didn't know how much you needed her until you got her, and that's the most beautiful thing you can say, I think, about your daughter and any of your kids. So, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes, yes, she is incredible. We were even thinking like we had the two boys. We're like, we're everything's good. Everything was fine, and I was a mom for all my 20s, and I was like, you know what? I spoke to my husband. I was like, what if we just try for one more?
Yeah.
Did, and we just knew there was just like missing piece, and it was for sure Liv, and
Mm.
so grateful for every piece of her.
Well, tell us a little bit about where other families who are maybe interested in your story or have caudal regression or tethered cord that they can follow you and learn from all that you're doing. And are you open to sharing that?
Yes, absolutely. So I post a lot on Instagram and TikTok. I'm trying to dabble into TikTok. It's a
It's
little
hard, right?
little touchy. People are a lot more to comment unnecessary things, but I have found so many other medical moms on TikTok. It
Yeah.
makes it all worth it, for the one bad comment to at least I'm reaching out to other medical moms. So on Instagram, I'm under as Mackenzie Carolin. So it's KenseaCarolin. And then TikTok is my life with Livy. So
Mm. Well, I feel like I get to know you and her through those. So I appreciate that. And so grateful that you're here with us today.
yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
I cried so much.
You really didn't. And guess what? Tears are welcome here because this is like real life stuff that's happening in our if there's a reason to cry, these are reasons to do it.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Yeah.
able to share love story and hopefully reach other.
Thank you all so much for listening to Child Life on Call. If you head to our website, childlifeoncall.com, you're going to find all sorts of stuff there for parents, professionals, healthcare providers, child life specialists, no matter who you are. Actually, when you just go to our homepage, it'll help you direct to exactly where you need to go. On that, you'll find opportunities and PDUs for child life specialists. Parents, we've got a starter kit for you. And clinicians, we even have a clinician course, which teaches you how to be a confident and capable caregiver in pediatrics. We're so grateful that you're here. Please DM us on Instagram. And like I mentioned, when you rate and review this podcast, it helps other families be able to find us. So let's keep doing that. And I will see you again here next week.